Hi guys, Teresa here from our Japanese garden escape. Today I'm going to be sorting out the mound you can see behind me. That one is mainly overgrown, some weeding needs to be done, and pretty much all the plants on this mound need trimming back. Oh, and we have a stone lantern that fell over, so we need to fix that as well. So today I want to try a different approach, which I've actually never done before, which is working my way from one side of the mound all the way to the other side. So I'm not going to be doing like weeding first and then pruning. I will be weeding and pruning all at the same time, working my way from one side to the other side. And I'm starting right here, so I'll take you through bit by bit what we have here and what needs doing. So here we have two junipers, one that grows up a little bit, the other one here is a creeping one that grows very low, so they need pruning and trimming back, especially the bit that grows onto the pathway. This juniper here, this one needs just a light prune really, just these long branches that start to grow out. Then we have this conifer type here. This is like a round kind of shape. That one needs trimming back. I did not trim this one last year because there was a gecko living in there, and so I didn't want to disturb it. So this shade really needs pruning. And a little bit further down here we have some ferns, again growing way too big, so we're gonna be taking them out, and maybe this Japanese andromeda will prune back a little bit, we'll see. I'll start right here at that end of the mound with my garden shears, and I'll start to prune this one back a little bit. So here's really what I'm doing here is just taking off excess growth to keep this one compact, and I'll just put everything down here for now, like so, because I don't want this one to grow out too much and grow into the pathway. So here I'm just snipping off the tips really. That's a very easy pruning job. And I always try to prune so that you can't really see that it has been pruned. Okay, that looks better. And junipers, they really react quite quickly to pruning, and in a good way, because as soon as you start pruning junipers, they will actually start to grow in a more compact kind of shape. So now I'm here onto the low growing juniper. I mean these types of junipers, they are very compact anyway, so they do not need a lot of pruning actually, and they never grow up. They really stay low and rather grow along than up, which is really good. But this one has just started to cover a bit too much of the pathway. So we still want it to grow into the pathway because it looks very natural. So I don't want to trim like a formal shape here. It should stay as informal as possible, but it is getting a bit narrow. So that bit here, I'm going to leave it like that, because if I take back too much, then it will create like a hole here. So, but this is fine, you can just walk through. And here I'm going to trim back a little more. next are those two ferns here, because they're in the way of pruning the round conifer behind me. Okay, that's number one. It's not too bad. And number two, that's a bigger one. Oh boy. We'll see if I have to get a spade for this one. So we have on this mound a few ferns as well, because this mound is right next to the one we did a few weeks ago, the lava stone mound. And the pathway goes between those two mounds. And so that's where a few of those ferns are growing on this one as well. The reason I always try to get them out with this small trowel, like this one here, is so that I do not destroy too much of the moss, because this entire mound is pretty much overgrown by moss completely. So that's why I always try first, in case you guys are wondering why not use a spade in the first place. So that's the reason. Okay, let's try to got some. Okay, here we go. Okay, you see, and this just removes really the base of the fern and a little bit of moss that is on there. I just picked it off and put it back in place. So for pruning this bush here, this conifer, I'm using my long shears. This is really the best for these type of shrubs. I use them mainly for boxwood. So what I do here, I hold them first this way around, so they're like right way around, and define the height. And here on this one I'm going to go a bit lower, because I didn't prune it last year, so about there. So I start kind of in the top middle section, and then I work my way down. And always get the cut off branches out of the way. Okay, that looks quite good. And then as I come down to the sides, I just need to change position here. Okay, cut this side. So that's the top pretty much done. And because here, I mean, I just want to keep this natural shape of this shrub here. So I don't want to shape it into a certain like form. And so this is why I just follow the natural growth. And this one has a kind of a round shape. And so what I do for the sides, once I start going down the sides, I turn the shears around and cut down like so. This makes it a lot easier, and this is how it's normally done. But it depends on the shape you want to have. So for the boxwoods, for example, you'll see that in, or maybe have seen already in other videos, I do not do it like that. I just keep the shears like this. Good. Now I'm working my way forward to this section here, and here I just wanted to show you in the last mound makeover video we had, we took out these grasses that grow here naturally, and if you do not cut them in time, so before they're seeding, then you see this is what happens. They just seed to everywhere. So I'm going to be finding in this mound quite a lot of those. They are still small, so just like this. So they're very easy to take out. And I just wanted to show you that we find those everywhere and why that is. So if I would let them grow, they would become really, really big. They are in like meadows or like fields. They look really nice, but it's just for our garden, it's not 100% suitable really. This is why we keep removing them. So the next bottom bit is clear ferns and other weeds. And now I'm on to this Japanese andromeda. So Japanese andromeda, they can grow quite tall, so to a proper bush size. This one here, however, I want to keep really small and rather low. And so you can see that some branches like this one and also this one here, I'm just looking around, also this area here, this is growing a bit too tall for this space here. So what I will do with this one here, I'm gonna be pruning these large branches off like so, and also clean some dead wood out a little bit. This one here I'm gonna prune here because there's a little shoot here that can stay. And also what I sometimes have with Japanese andromedas, you see this branch here, so this is normally supposed to grow up like that, but sometimes they start to lean over. I think it's here in this area where we live, sometimes due to heavy snow in winter that just lies on them, even though I do clean off snow, but I cannot always catch every little bit, and then they start to lean over. So I'm gonna cut this one because this will not stand up anymore, and it gives this these shoots here a little bit more breathing space. So this one here, this is, you see, a nice rather new shoot, still red at the top, but this one is getting a bit too tall, so I'll prune this off here. And also that one here is way too tall, and I will prune this at the base here and just leave those two smaller ones coming out from that branch. Alright, so looking from this side now, you see we have some more space at the back there. The overall height, this is quite good. Now I'm just having a look at this branch here. But this one, I'm actually going to leave this for now and see how that grows, because you see underneath here there's quite a lot of growth as well. But for now this is just fine. Next one is pruning this one a little bit. Also this is growing a bit too tall these days for this area, and you see it already has the blossoms for next year, which is very good and also normal for blooming shrubs. And normally blooming shrubs should be pruned right after the bloom, so that they have enough time during the growing season to produce new blossoms for the next year. So this one, however, I'm going to be pruning now at the sacrifice of some blossoms for next year, but that's okay for me. So here I'm just trying to reduce the height, and I cut these branches back to where they came from. Here I'm just going to take out this main one, and this one here I'm going to take out from down there. That's a lot better. This one also I will reduce here. This maybe just that one for now, and here just this one for now, and we can have a look at that again next year. Now we're on to this maple here. So this one has grown quite out of proportion really. This is a dissected maple. It does have, however, these days, it has two different types of leaf shapes. So I'm going to show you maybe a close-up here. So when we bought this maple, it had only these kind of leaves. So you see really, really thin ones. And I'm assuming, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm assuming that this one is a grafted one. And what happens sometimes that the maple, that is the rootstock maple, grows through, and then you get different leaves on the same maple. And I think this is what happened here. So this is where we get the larger leaves here with the wider single leaf beds. And so I will try to cut these branches out, because otherwise they're going to be taking over this maple, and this is just just a small maple. So, and it shouldn't grow a lot taller than it is here. Take this entire branch off. This will open it up a lot more. Yes, I will do that. Here's my saw for this. Right, that's better. So onto the last little bit here. If you're interested in maple pruning, I have quite a few videos about maple pruning these days, so I'll link them up there for you. and they are specifically about pruning techniques in different maples and how I approach pruning a maple. So I explained in this one a little bit, but I didn't go too much into detail. With this one, I ended up using just my garden shears because these branches are so thin. And as you can see, I'm just taking out the middle branch here to get rid of these large leaves. Done with this maple. Very good. Oh, okay, now. Okay, now we move on to those grasses. And what happened back here, we planted these grasses a while ago and they do like to spread, which is good because we wanted them to fill out this area. Here we have like a concrete base, and we have a stone lantern here. And that stone lantern fell over. So these stone lanterns, they are in a few pieces. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. And for some reason we found it like that yesterday. I'm not quite sure what happened. Maybe it got pushed over by the grass, even though it doesn't really make that much sense to me. Never mind. So we'll stand this back up. But first I'm gonna cut these grasses a little bit just on the side so they don't grow too much into this one here, and so they don't grow too much into the stone lantern. So for these grasses I just use the shears. They works best, it is quite quick. And I just go here with the natural shape these grasses have produced and just shorten it. So back there this is alright really for the moment. And just coming here to the front, this is what is more important to shorten. Okay. This one I'm gonna get out. So you see they spread, but they come out easily. So this is part number 1 I found that goes in here. Let's see if I can solve that puzzle. Okay, then we have a roof bit. I think this one. No. I think this one maybe. To here. That looks about right so far. This one onto here. Okay. This one is the wrong way up. Ah, here we go. Now it fits. Great. And okay. And then there's the roof bit I need to pick up from over there. That's the heavy bit, which is down here, rolled into the plants. Oh boy! Right. Okay, how am I gonna do this? Like so. Okay. Almost done. Sorry, it's not. Oh, falling again. Oh dear. Doesn't sit yet. So I'm just wondering if that base has sunken. If you look here, we have just a concrete slab down here, and maybe that has sunken in. Maybe this is why it fell over. Alright, so we fixed that quickly off camera. We put some gravel underneath instead of lifting up this concrete base. So we did it like that. It's stable now, that will do. And now I have the honor putting on the last piece, which is nicely overgrown by moss. I'll try to find which variety it was. I think something like this. That looks about right to me. Stick that moss back in, and that's it. So we're done here in this little area. That looks so much better than it was before. All the mess is gone and it's not overgrown anymore. So next week, guys, make sure you join us again for part 2 of sorting out the mound. Hit the subscribe button to stay up to date, and thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye!